and Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political.
Welcome to the Lawyer's Den. On behalf of International Broadcast Media, I'm Bill Trezevant, and as we all know, I'm soon to bring out my best friend and erstwhile cohort. But before I do that, I want to say welcome back. We've missed you, and we've been out there for a while. But right now, the very first person I need, my cohort, my co-pilot, fly the plane, land the plane. Nick, where are you?
I have arrived, and I brought my fan club with me. I noticed that you have improved your digs, your background. You even have a Buffalo Bill thing in the back. I'm not sure why Bill likes Buffalo Bill. It's a horrible team, but we'll discuss that later on at another program. That belongs on our sports program. But we do have an exciting panel here today. Remember, this is the replacement for Judge Judy. For those people who watch that show, as it's going to go off the air. We go on the air. Do you want to bring the panel in?
Yes, Nick.
Okay, hailing from Salt Lake City, we have an attorney who's a JD from Brigham Young University, received his LLM from George Washington University. The philosopher of our group, let's welcome Jeff Tykert back to the show. Welcome back to the den, Mr. Jeff.
Great to be here.
Okay. Also on the den, we bring this lady in from Lithuania. Remember, we are internationally broadcast, so hello to the people in India and Lithuania. She actually received her JD from the University of Denver School of Law and her LLM in International Law from the University of Denver School of Law, practices in the United States of America, the Class Act. Let's bring in Guidry Stantonite. Guidry, welcome to the show. Her and your fan club has arrived. Now, with that, we need somebody who's a little bit more educated, actually than Judge Judy, by the way, Bill. This person actually received his jersey. He actually went to the University of Southern California. I don't know if that's a good recommendation or not, given that. But anyway, he went there. Then he received his law degree at the Ohio State University, received a master's degree in criminology. He's a criminal attorney, aren't they all? And then he went to receive his LLM from New York University. The professor of our group, the criminal attorney, the professor, Adam Lamparello. Adam, welcome back to the den.
Great to be here.
And also on the panel, last but not least.
Right, one more.
Yeah, one more. This person actually went to the State University of New York at Buffalo, and after he received his JD degree, buffaloing the people over there, he went to New York City to practice law, where he was admitted to the bar. We're not sure what bar he was admitted to in New York, but he is a street fighter in New York. He is Fernando Leal, the street fighter. And then Nick, finally, we have another person on our board who actually went to the State University of New York in Buffalo. He is the den master, the Honorable Bill Trezevant. Honorable, you notice. Come on, bring up some more applause. No,
actually, Nick, I would think that would be questionable. I think that would be Bill questionable Trezevant, but don't mind.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But Bill, since you are the host with the most, and you're the den master of this illustrious and august organization, I must say, what are we talking about today? What's the topic of the day?
Well, it seems to me, it's we're going to try to get there, and we're going to start with this. It's packing the Supreme Court. Right. If we don't like what the rulings are, can't we add a couple of more judges? Now, before we get to all the rigmarole that all you guys are going to be fighting about, I've got to go to my SME, that is subject matter expert. And that would be Adam. And then we're going to, follow it up, because I don't want people thinking that I'm playing favorites. And then I'm going to go to Jeff. And then we're going to run around. So, okay, Adam, you're up. You're my number one hitter. What do you got?
Several decades ago, the Democratic Party, the original party of slavery,
decided to wage war on democracy. They did so by seeking to use the Supreme Court to implement policies that could not be enacted through the democratic process, and to enlist its members to disregard, manipulate, and distort the Constitution to get to these results. That's why you have Griswold versus Connecticut, for example, Roe versus Wade, Obergefell versus Hodges. What's happened after Donald Trump was elected is that Donald Trump appointed conservative justices. Those justices, respecting democracy, interpret the Constitution and its words as the founders intended, because they know that the people, not politicians or philosopher kings, should be making law for this country. They believe in liberty, not aristocracy. Adam,
look,
now the Democrats are upset because you have a conservative majority on the court. So like everything else, they want to change the rules and pack the court with liberal justices to enact through the Supreme Court, through distortions of the constitutions, what they can't enact through the legislature. It's anti-democratic, it's wrong, and it's antithetical to liberty.
Okay, Adam, I really appreciate that, except that I went to you as my subject matter expert to explain to people, not opine about what. Fine. Listen.
Well, I can briefly explain.
No, Adam, I love your hair, but Jeff, can I get you in here from Utah, please, so that we might be able to explain?
Well, my understanding is that this proposal, first of all, President Biden has referred this, as I understand it, to a presidential commission, which seems to be his go-to thing for anything that's politically divisive or difficult. He did the same thing with COVID-19. And I believe the two things that are on the table for this commission, number one, include term limits for Supreme Court justices, and the other is, can we add more of them to make sure that his agenda goes through and is not struck down as unconstitutional? And I can opine on it later, but that's my understanding of the proposal.
No. I appreciate that, and thank you for your brevity, which is very rare with lawyers. Deidre, really, is it really just passing the court to get an agenda, or is it just democracy marching forward?
Yes, in my opinion, it is democracy. It's not the first time when there is a debate to alter the number of the Supreme Court justices. It has been, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at least 7 times. So right now, it makes sense. American population in the past 30 years has increased by 30%. There are issues evolving to different levels, left and right. At this point, the Supreme Court is becoming more politicized. And therefore, there could be an organic discussion about implementation of certain changes. And among those changes that could be implemented is also the packing the court, limiting the term, and also possibly, at least not as favored by the parts, is making Supreme Court not just so important, meaning that Supreme Court justices would not be in driver's seat picking what cases to decide on and therefore push their agenda. It's not a popular suggestion. It's still on the table, but again, it's one of the organic evolving factors that we could consider when discussing Supreme Court.
Fantastic! I love this, and then I'm going to bring the whole group together. But Fernando, I need your opinion from New York City, because there are 8 million people with stories in New York, and how are you thinking, Fernando, about this?
My opinion is that it's court packing because you have a bunch of whiners that don't like to lose. So now they want to shift everything to their point of view. And the court being politicized, actually trying to pack the court is politicizing the court. Trying to set term limits is politicizing the court. Also, the other thing that this committee is supposed to study, which is made up of 36 members, and it's pretty evenly split between conservatives and progressives, for lack of a better term, is that they're supposed
to go there, Fernando, right now?
Yeah, I don't care, man. Is that they're supposed to also study and review if the court should be stripped of some jurisdiction over some cases, which is further politicizing of the court.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Nick, can we bring the whole group in? Because I think I have no authority on this one. Great. Nick, seriously. I'm gonna ask you, no, Nick, may I ask you this one question, please? If I'm in charge as a Democrat, why can't I pack the court? I don't care about Fernando's feelings. I'm not worried about Adam's, theoretical things. I get that Jeff just thinks I want to tear up the Constitution, and I know Guidry wants to make everything better. Nick, why can't I?
Well, of course, the thing is, it'd be nice if Jeff and Adam would actually look at the history books for a change. I'm not surprised that Guidry actually did it. She's class. And in 1837, Andrew Jackson, of course, increased the Supreme Court. Then there was another act in 1869 where he increased the Supreme Court from 7 to 9 justices. So modernizing the court is something that we have a history of doing in the United States. So I have to concur with Guidry on this particular case.
Wow.
That increasing the court is something that we needed to do actually a long time ago. But today it presents an opportunity because we had a major injustice in our political system that people need to know around the world. The injustice was Merrick Garland. He was nominated and should have been sitting on the bench. But at that point in time, there was this crazy guy who was the head of the majority party at the time who said, no, election year, we shouldn't bring this person on. And so he didn't get on. Then the same person who's so disingenuous when this next nominee came up said, oh, okay, we need to hurry it through. This was completely wrong. And in my world, when there's wrongs, you change it and you right the wrong. Easy done by modernizing the court, by adding a couple more justices to the court, which is something we desperately need to do. And I hope it gets done, Bill.
Okay, fine. Listen, Adam, and then Fernando, I'm putting you on deck. And Jeff, you were going to help me out once I'm done causing a disaster here. Adam, really, do we need the Merrick Garland affirmative action seat? Fernando, has there ever been an affirmative action box that you did not check? And whoa, can I see Jeff? Jeff, can you please stop me from running off the rails? So I'm gonna go in that order. Adam.
Well, first, I'll just make 3 brief points. Regarding Guidry's point, I'm not surprised. Guidry was born in a communist country and misses it every day. But apart from that, what I want to say is this. The Constitution of this country entrusts the people, not philosopher kings, unelected and life-tenured judges, with determining the laws under which they're governed. And that is the essence of liberty. When you allow the Supreme Court to make law based on ignoring or destroying the Constitution to support their policy preferences, you no longer have a democracy. But I'll give you 3 solutions that will help. The Supreme Court should not be granting certiorari in cases where the Constitution is silent or does not provide an answer to the constitutional question. Number 2, there should be a supermajority requirement that requires 6 votes rather than 5 for a decision to overturn or affirm a lower court. And number 3, the Supreme Court should be issuing advisory opinions so that we don't go through the morass of litigation before we resolve.
Oh, right. Okay, Fernando, because I mean, Adam, I don't even know when to cut you off. Fernando?
Yes, Bill?
You were on deck.
Yeah, what was your question?
Okay, well, listen, if I'm in charge as a Democrat, why can't I just pack the court?
Because the point, well, I'm going to address one of your first points about checking off affirmative action box and the rest of the nonsense that you're trying to bring up. As someone who is a capitalist and a competitor, if you're going to give me something that's going to give me an advantage over you, I'm going to take it. If you don't like it, get rid of the box. The next point, why? Because all you're doing is that the next guy that comes in is going to do the same thing that you did. Either they're going to expand it or shrink it. And it's what happened back, the first time that this happened was actually, if we're going to talk about history books, was the 1790s, when Adams was leaving office and Jefferson was coming in, and they were scared of Jefferson. So Adams expanded, Jefferson contracted, and then started kicking everybody out that was a Federalist that had taken the bench. So you're turning the courts into a political ping pong, which is not what we should be doing.
Okay,
The-
fine.
the-
Listen, no. Listen, elections have consequences, and isn't that the reason why they have consequences? Now, this is what I'm going to do. Jeff, Deidre, and Nick. Jeff, please, can you help me out with them? Because right now I'm feeling a little frustrated because I won the election.
Well, first of all, with respect to Nick's comment, I agree with him that there was tremendous hypocrisy on the part of the Republicans in Congress. And I'm not even suggesting that they shouldn't have done what they did, but the justification they gave to not even have a vote on Merrick Garland's nomination was it's an election year. And then they sort of modified it when they had a chance to fill a seat during an election year and had the majority. So I do believe there was hypocrisy there. That's where my agreement with Nick ends, however. Because number one, he cited Andrew Jackson as someone who changed the composition of the court. Well, Andrew Jackson was famously known for saying of the Supreme Court, John Marshall has made his decision, now let him enforce it. The Supreme Court has no police, has no military. It has no ability to enforce its own decisions unless the executive is willing to do it. And the only thing, Alexander Hamilton talked about this in Federalist 78, and he said the only thing the courts have is judgment. They have neither force nor will. And so he was basically, and Andrew Jackson was basically saying, yeah, I've got the guns and I'm not going to enforce your order. And so I think it's, Andrew Jackson's reason for trying to pack the court is he didn't like their decisions. He wanted to make it a political organ. And in this current situation, I agree with Deidre only to a limited degree. Yes, we have changed the number of justices on the court in the past. My concern is the reason. Now, let me tell you what I think a legit reason would be to do it. The Supreme Court nowadays only decides about 90 cases per year. That means each justice writes about 10 majority opinions, a little under one per month. Now, if you wanted to, say, increase the number to 15 or something like that, so that the court could hear more cases and decide more conflicting areas of the law, well, that might be a reasonable way to, it would still be political and still be a big fight, but that may be a legitimate reason to do it. Doing it because I want certain outcomes in certain cases, I think inherently that justification politicizes the court.
Okay. All right. Jeff, I love you. But Deidre, if I may have a moment, why can't I have my Uber driver who has more opinions on any given day, making more decisions than the Supreme Court 1, 2? Don't you think at a fundamental level that more brains, more people, more opinions are better than less? And isn't that a reason to court pack? And Adam, don't look, I'm coming back to you, but Nick, I got to go to you first. But Deidre, aren't more brains, more people, more important? And that's why we ought to pack the court.
Absolutely. Why not? First of all, the Constitution does not give a limit on how many Supreme Court justices could be appointed. There is reason for that. So it's not unconstitutional by itself. Also, the precedent, the history, the practice within our institution dictates otherwise, that it is in fact constitutional and socially accepted. As Bill said, that more brain power could lead to better results, and also to decide to make decisions on more cases is very, very reasonable. Because Adam, I think previously you also mentioned on multiple.
I'm going to have a heart attack, really.
That is very, very undemocratic to have 9 individuals, not appointed individuals, not elected by the people, to have such unprecedented authority. By increasing the number of Supreme Court justices, we will actually take that authority, individual authority that is maintained by every single individual justice. So that by itself also will help to the claim that you said, Adam, prior. Another point that I want to mention, Supreme Court always has been politicized. It's a political institution. Right now, the problem is that Supreme Court became very partisan, and that's different. And therefore, in order to really reconsider and change the situation as everyone being appointed by how they consider, how they're going to decide, could be also ameliorated by having more Supreme Court justices appointed to that. And also the last time the increased number of Supreme Court justices happened more than 100 years ago. And it didn't have a domino effect or some kind of drastic political ping pong effect. It actually, right now, I could not imagine having a Supreme Court with 7 justices. I really like that.
Okay, Nick.
Yes.
I hand the floor. I'm sorry. I did not mean to, ignore you, but I mean, you're up, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I must say I do respect the opinions of Adam, Jeff, and Fernando, no matter how dead wrong they are. So the thing is, I just want to preface that, and now to expand their calcified brains, if possible. The thing is, we have 30 justices on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals bill, 30 of them. And the Ninth Circuit is much smaller. It's just the western part of the United States. We only have 9 Supreme Court justices. Why so few? We haven't expanded the Supreme Court since 1869. I totally agree with Guidry because she's smart and she has class and she understands basic math, which apparently Adam, Fernando, and Jeff aren't very good at. The population of the United States has expanded 3 times and the court has stayed with 9 since 1869. So expanding the court, and this gives us an opportunity to do so, is the right thing to do. And
okay.
we have
no, Nick, I appreciate that. Adam, I'm coming to you. And here's my basic question, because I mean, your colleagues, Nick and Guidry, made an important point. And that is, you as an originalist, when the country started, there were what, a couple of hundred of us running around on the shores here. We're now 330 million, and you still kind of with your philosopher scholars, right?
Well,
right. So hang on. So we had 9 or 7 or 8 and whatever we made up. Now we have 330 million Americans. Why are you so stuck on not changing?
Because I reject Guidry's implicit embracing of Marxism and communism and a court that tells everyone what to do and takes away liberty. We're not in Lithuania, okay? Now, let me be very clear. The Supreme Court is about as democratic as Jeffrey Epstein was celibate. They are fundamentally anti-democratic. And the key to a democracy is giving people the power to make the laws under which they're governed, to empower people. That's the essence of liberty and freedom. What Guidry wants to do, and what the Democrats want to do, is pack the Supreme Court with people who are going to rule how they want them to rule on policy with no regard for what the Constitution says, what it means, or what it intends. That is wrong.
Okay, right. No.
Your liberty is at stake if you listen to this bullshit that they are trying to peddle to you. Wake up, people. Wake up.
Okay, fine. Listen, Jeff and then Fernando. Jeff, I mean, seriously. I mean, freedom and liberty and, nonsense coming from Adam. Fernando, I'm going to need that New York perspective. But right now I'm going to the West Coast and then I'm coming to the East Coast. Jeff, please, isn't this all nonsense? And why can't I pack the court when I win?
Let me tell you why you can't pack the court when you win, or why you shouldn't. I'm going to quote from Federalist 78 by Alexander Hamilton. The complete independence of the courts of justice is peculiarly essential in a limited constitution. By a limited constitution, I understand one which contains certain specified exceptions to the legislative authority. Limitations of this kind can be preserved in practice no other way than through the medium of the courts of justice, whose duty it must be to declare all acts contrary to the manifest tenor of the Constitution void. Without this, all reservations of particular rights or privileges would amount to nothing. Now, he goes on to talk about the ill humors of society. And by that, he's talking about sort of the mob mentality that takes over once in a while when we have a particularly politically charged event or something. And he says, while those tend to be short-lived, they can be very dangerous. And we need an institution that is above politics that can interpret the Constitution and preserve rights. Why? Because if they don't, if they're not able to because of political pressures and so on, then where is the safety for our liberty? And it has to be a body that is trusted to interpret the law and not do the will of a particular political party. If you shorten the terms of justices, it's going to reduce their independence. It's going to make the court more political. If you expand and contract the number of justices according to political considerations, the same thing will happen. And that the integrity of the court as a body, as imperfect as it is, because it's run by imperfect human beings, is essential. It has to be independent. It has to be trusted. And
no, Jeff, I appreciate that, and I trust me, I love you. You know I do. But Fernando, seriously, and then Guidry, I'm coming to you. But Fernando, seriously, does any of that make sense in a city where you live with over 8 million people? You got to trust 9 people. I can't even trust the guy that's going to serve me, my bagel with lox. Fernando?
Yes, what Jeff just said made total sense, and he cited the right person, Alexander Hamilton. And this nonsense that because we have a population of X, the Supreme Court needs to be expanded from 9 to 30 to 50 is even more nonsense. You have the House of Representatives. That's what's based on population. The courts aren't based on population. The Supreme Court isn't based on population. And this concept that because now you have more people, they're going to decide more cases, it's going to be the opposite. They're going to decide less cases because they're going to be bogged down in 15 people arguing back and forth. Think of when you were in college that you had a group project and you had, 10 people. How often did that project get done? How quickly did it get done? All 10 people have 10 different opinions. Nobody does anything. Nobody wants to take the lead. And before you know it, everybody's bogged down. And here comes the day of doing the project. You throw something together, turn it in, move on, and get your C or your B. It's nonsense. The more you add, the more bogged down it becomes. And this concept also that judges are liberals and conservatives and all this other nonsense. This is media driven and politician driven. Judges are judges. And they sit there, you give them a case, they look at it, they rule based on the statute and what you got. And that's it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The guys that lose, and I've lost a lot, I sit there going, that's because this judge got appointed. He has a friend. This is nonsense. No, it's because he's a liberal, he's a conservative, whatever. It's because you're on the wrong side of the facts. That's why you lose.
2% right.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Adam. Fernando, I want to be clear for our domestic and international audience, and Guidry, I'm coming to you. Fernando, I've known you for over 30 years. You are not a loser. Now, Guidry, can you just make sure that Fernando is not a loser? And Nick, I'm coming to you. Fernando, you're not a loser. Guidry?
No, Fernando, you're absolutely not a loser. I'm joining your team, but I would never even dare to think or compare my classmates to Supreme Court justices when it comes to group project. I think that Supreme Court justice is completely different level, and it's completely different work that they need to handle first. The second, population X is really not a sole or primary reason to have the number increase of Supreme Court justices. And again, I want to make it clear, nobody is talking about increasing the number by 10, 15 other people. It would be a smaller, significantly smaller number. But what we need to look at, in my opinion, Supreme Court right now is at its lowest low. Look at the nomination process of Supreme Court justice and also look at the judicial behavior. We are having bipartisan, everything dominated, meaning that we have cult personalities that start advocating. There are some Supreme Court justices, and there is enough research done that advocate and take certain sides during the oral arguments, and it's not a news. And therefore, I think that it would be reasonable to add new blood to it. When it comes to nomination, we notice that right now parties, the president nominate Supreme Court justices solely based on their standing political standard, what happened before, and their expectations for the future. And here I would like to mention Merrick Garland's, that has been mentioned prior. What happened to him is completely unprecedented. The fact that political party chose not to consider nominee for whole year, just because he was appointed by the wrong president is very appalling. And therefore, I do think that certain changes need to be done to Supreme Court.
Okay, and thank you.
Oh, geez.
No, Adam, I'm coming to you after Nick, and Jeff, I'm coming after you after Adam. But Nick, how many can I get away with? Because I'm really not concerned about Fernando saying we got to limit the population. That's like that 3/5 argument, with slavery. Why can't I have a Supreme Court with 50 people? What do I care, Nick?
Well, the thing is, I have to agree with Guidry. What we're doing is we're expanding the court to meet the demands of a changing society. And, when Adam is losing, it's the old proverb. When he's losing on the law, Adam pounds on the facts. When he's losing on the facts, he pounds on the law. When he's losing on both, like he is today, he just pounds on the table or just yells things because he knows he's totally wrong in this particular area. History has shown that the expansion of the court has taken place, and the fact is we're behind, just like our infrastructure is behind. If we go on further and we watch what who is this guy Jeff? He goes and quotes Alexander Hamilton, a dead guy that wasn't even born in the United States. The only thing Alexander Hamilton did good is he has a Broadway show and he was shot by Aaron Burr. Other than that, he's a waste of time. This was 200 years ago. So forget anything he says. Look to modernize the court. Look to expand the court. Bring more brains together, Bill. Guidry's right, and Adam can go back to his little hill in Georgia and hang out with William Tecumseh Sherman.
Nick, thank you. But Adam, I'm not getting in the scrum fight. This is you and him, straight up. Your turn.
Well, let me just respond to Guidry, who laments the confirmation process. Well, Guidry, I didn't hear you talk about the confirmation process of Robert Bork or Clarence Thomas or Brett Kavanaugh. Okay? I didn't hear you talk about any of that. Now, I have proposed specific solutions to restore democracy and to give people the power, the people in Pennsylvania, not on Pennsylvania Avenue, power. Require a 6-vote supermajority on the Supreme Court to overturn or affirm a lower court. Number 2, limit the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to hearing only cases that implicate the Constitution's textual provisions. And number 3, to increase efficiency in litigation, allow the court to issue advisory opinions. Now, Guidry, we live in a democracy, and that means your vote is important. If you care so much about all this change, get your ass to Tallahassee and start a grassroots campaign, or go into the ballot box and use your voice to vote. But don't try to pack the court to get your own policy preferences enacted undemocratically. That's what you're doing.
No, Adam, I have to throw a flag there because she wasn't advocating that.
I'm always getting flags, but
no, I was advocating.
I think
I believe in the people. I don't believe in the elite. Okay? I believe in the working man, not the Bill Gateses of the world. I don't believe in the Faucis of the world. I believe in the working people and the middle class.
Nick, good for you. They've done a lot for this country. I'm proud of them. But they haven't.
Fauci's done a lot for this country.
They haven't moved the country forward. You have to have leaders, Adam. Think about that.
That's the problem. We don't have leaders, and the guy in the White House who's napping right now is not a leader.
Okay, unfair. Another flag. Guidry, do you want to chime in? Because Adam was calling you out. Nick, I thank you, and Fernando and Jackson coming back to you.
Adam, I enjoyed your political campaign for some kind of something in the future, but really, when we're talking about Gerald's nomination, it's unprecedented for that sole reason. For whole year, there was refusal to vote, and that was never a reason or deal or even discussed in all other nominations. So that's my point. And when it comes to the appointing Supreme Court justices or selecting, it's also, you could say that gets to the point that president appoints those Supreme Court justices. The president has been directly selected by the people. So maybe it is not a direct voting mechanism to select Supreme Court justices, but it is not as detached as you making it to appear. And also, when it comes to nomination, there is a whole mechanism when it comes to the appointment of the Supreme Court justice and vetting the Supreme Court justice. So it's not done.
Okay. No. Excellent. Jeff, Fernando. Jeff, first, you please, because I mean, what are you making, out of this nonsense? You are an LLM after all, Jeff.
Well, I find it interesting that Nick first quotes Andrew Jackson and then disparages Adam for, worshiping statues of William Tecumseh Sherman, and then instead of that president from the South, Andrew Jackson, he disparages Alexander Hamilton, who is one of the 3 authors of the Federalist Papers, the most authoritative source outside the Constitution itself for interpreting its provisions. So I will quote Alexander Hamilton all day long on this, and I think we have to get back to the core of this argument. The important thing, the central most important thing, is preserving the independence of the judiciary for political pressure. Otherwise, it cannot resist the quote unquote ill humors of society, the mob mentality that takes over now and then and threatens people's constitutional rights. And judges have to have the freedom and independence to stand up for constitutional provisions. I would also throw in, on my side of this argument, Justice Stephen Breyer, a great justice, albeit one of the most liberal justices on the court, and I don't agree with him very often, but I agree with him on this. He said to Congress just recently about this court packing scheme by the Biden administration, be very careful, don't do this because it's going to hurt the independence of the judiciary. And he's right.
Okay, fine. Fernando, you and I disagree on just about everything over the last 3 decades. And I disagree with Jeff. I say pack the court. I say everybody, an affirmative action plan. I think everybody should have, a seat at the table. And remember, you're the one that said that you never missed a box that you did not check as you were climbing your way up. So, Fernando, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I said that to you in a private conversation one-on-one. If our conversation is going to be open for TV now, then no holds barred.
No.
I'll start remembering some of our old conversations.
No,
and again,
that's a flag, Bill.
Go ahead, Bill.
All right. No, go ahead, Fernando. I'm sorry.
And again, me checking off boxes that people gave me to check off so I can gain an advantage. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't give me the box then, right? If you don't like it, don't put the box there. You put the box there. I'm a competitor. I compete to win. So yeah, I'm going to check off the box. It's not my fault if you, Bill, decides not to check off the box because you have some ridiculous, hoity-toity pride and you're above it all. So, that's fine. I'm not. Whatever advantage I can get to further my limited intelligence, I'm going to take it.
Oh my God.
On this one, Jeff is correct. And of course, Nick doesn't like Hamilton. Why would he like Hamilton? An actual American who drafted the Constitution. Bill is one of these guys that went to Oxford and he's all about English common law. And he wants to, set us back. If it were up to him, we'd be living under English common law. With his fancy Oxford degree and his, chess playing that doesn't generate any money for any institutions because I don't know any physics labs that have been built by the chess team.
God, Nick.
This is all, people have labeled judges liberal and conservative. And at the end of the day, when they sit down and make decisions, they do it on the rules and principles of the law, not whether they're liberal or conservative. And Justice Breyer, who I've been mispronouncing his name since forever, just spoke at Harvard. And one of the things that he said in his speech is he blames all this on the tendency of the press and politicians to label justices as liberal or conservatives. that decisions are driven by politics rather than legal principles. And he tells them that their decisions are based on legal principles. And guess what? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes the facts are with you, sometimes they are not. And that's the bottom line. And the press does not do a good job of explaining decisions. They explain them with whatever tilt they want to give it. Then you go read the decision and you're like, this isn't what they decided.
Okay. Look. I thank you for that hour. Nick, Guidry, Adam. Nick, in that order. Nick, Guidry, Adam, please. Adam.
Thank you, Counselor. I certainly want to have the opportunity to address my mental midget colleague, Fernando Leal, relating to some basic math that Guidry tried to point out, that even Adam, a purported scholar, and Jeff, who tends to worship a guy who's been dead for 200 years, who none of the majors have done that. The population of the United States has expanded in 1869 from 38,925,000 in 1869 when we had 9 justices to over 330 million, and we still have 9 justices. This is totally wrong. We should have approximately 85 justices on the Supreme Court if you do the math. And for my friend Jeff, if he ever wants to show up again, the founders of Facebook, Apple, Google, and Microsoft never quote a dead man like Alexander Hamilton to move their companies forward. I wonder why. That's because he's been dead for 200 years and frankly has done nothing during that period of time. To move this country forward, you need new ideas, new opportunities, and you need a larger Supreme Court, not 9. Now, of course, your originalists, you'd love us to be back on the farms, but unfortunately, the farms are gone. And so, Adam, if you want to continue working your farm in Georgia, go ahead. And I'm sure Jeff will have plenty of good times in Utah. But the population and the might of the United States is in moving our technology and our industries forward. And with that, we need a larger base of intellectual capital, which we can do so by expanding the United States Supreme Court.
Okay. It seems to me like somebody's got to pick up the baton here, because I think Nick
didn't I lay waste to them like the atomic bomb?
No,
with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, isn't Fernando and Adam and Jeff a wasteland now?
No. I think we were going Guidry and Jeff.
Okay.
Fernando, I know you're angry right now. I'm gonna come back to you, but Guidry, Jeff, I got to give you equal time. Fernando, you, and then Adam. After, please, can the class of this show please teach these other people how to play nice in the sandbox?
Well, I will agree with Nick. Yet, in addition to increasing population, let's not forget the other aspects of why it is okay and welcoming, in fact, to increase the number of Supreme Court justices. And one of those factors is the reality of today's Supreme Court. I agree with Jeff that Supreme Court is impeccable institution on paper. In fact, when I was growing up, I wanted nothing else. I cared about nothing else but Supreme Court and Supreme Court justices. I bowed to Supreme Court. Yet right now, the Supreme Court is facing a serious trouble. Supreme Court became dominated, or I could say inseparable from a word gamesmanship. There is a lot of manipulation and there is a lot of strategizing by both parties. And you know what? It is our reality right now. The Supreme Court has been politicized for decades, centuries, and right now, the baton is in the hands of Democratic Party. And you know what? It is healthy. It has always been about the context between two parties. So why not the Democratic Party facing and seeing all of these changes, as were mentioned by Nick and myself and Bill, why the Democratic Party would not introduce the expansion of the justices within the Supreme Court in expectation that maybe we are going to have certain more diverse poll in deciding on certain issues. It doesn't mean, as Fernando said correctly, it doesn't mean that those justices are going to make decisions according to their affiliation with the party, yet it will increase the diversity and also will be able to be equipped more to address more issues and probably with more depth.
Okay. Guidry, I appreciate that. Jeff, you know what I need from you right now? And Adam, I'm coming to you. Don't. Jeff, please make sense of what the arguments are, because I think Guidry and I and Nick are winning. But I know you're an originalist, and
We're killing him. We're not winning. We're killing him, Bill. But go on.
I know, but Nick, I can't. Jeff, your turn. Go right ahead, please.
Next time Nick has the floor, I would like him to explain and not skirt the issue. I would like to hear him explain how the fact that our population has increased to over 300 million means we no longer need an independent judiciary, because that is really what's at stake here. And he's saying, oh, you're just 200, your ideas are 200 years old. Well, those are the ideas that have made us into the most powerful nation on earth, and at the same time the freest nation on earth. So the foundation on which it is built is important to look at. Now, to quote Hamilton again, who Nick says is irrelevant, if then the courts of justice are to be considered the bulwarks of a limited constitution against legislative encroachments, this consideration will afford a strong argument for the permanent tenure of judicial offices. That means life tenure, since nothing will contribute so much as this to that independent spirit in the judges, which must be essential to the faithful performance of so arduous a duty. So judicial independence is what we're talking about here. And the people that want to pack the court want to do it for political reasons and to right a wrong that they believe was done for political reasons. We can't allow that kind of political football to continue between the two parties.
Okay, all right. Well, no, Jeff, I appreciate that. And I want you to know that, I love it when you read to me. But Adam, can I hear something else? Because, he just wrapped himself in the flag. Adam, what do you have?
Well, I have to say, I'm really disappointed, and I'm really sad about what has happened to this country. And voters, I'm looking at all of you, of all races, you better wake the hell up. What the Democratic Party is doing is disgusting. We have two visions that have been presented here tonight. Guidry and Nick's vision is to have unelected life tenure judges dictate your life, your liberty, and your livelihood, regardless of what the Constitution says. My vision is, I believe in the people. I believe in the people making the laws. I believe in the people's voices matter. I believe in the average working guy, not the elitist 1% who thinks they can tell everyone else what to do and how to live. Guidry speaks with a communist fervor. I speak with democratic fidelity.
Oh, good. Thank you, Adam. Guidry, because I think he's calling you names, and I don't even know. This is not an immigration show.
Well,
she does not respect the average voice of American people.
Well, Adam, you keep calling her names, and that's not nice. I happen to think it's great. But, Guidry?
Well, Adam, I have a question right now. So right now in Supreme Court, we have all not elected justices for lifetime. Basically, what you said is the situation where we are right now. We have appointed justices for life tenure. What I am suggesting is diversifying the field and introducing more justices to be able to handle all the cases, more cases coming their way, and also to provide more brain power, as was rightfully put by Nick previously. And the fact that you're talking about communist country, Adam, it has been decades and decades and decades, and I really would appreciate you kind of to focus on me spending more of my lifetime in the United States than being born in.
I'm attacking your ideas, not you. You want to expand the court's power. I want to limit it. My view is democratic, yours is not.
But
okay.
You would not limit, or you would actually provide more untapped authority to the individuals, to those 9.
Exactly, I would. That's called liberty.
Increase the number and then split the authority and have a more diverse decision-making apparatus.
That's what democracy is. It is diversity.
Okay. No.
13 white judges dictating policy for 330 million people. It's not democracy.
Okay, Fernando.
But I respect your opinion.
No, Fernando. You have any thoughts or?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I guess I must have missed that part in Article 3 where it says that the Supreme Court is supposed to be reflective of the size of the population. I thought that was supposed to be the House of Representatives, but I don't have a useless LLM like Nick or play chess. But what do I know? You know, Nick hasn't stepped in a courtroom in I don't know how many years, and he's sitting here saying how we need more judges because of the number of cases. There isn't a courtroom or court system in this country in where there are more cases than judges. If you're going to make the court reflective of the population, the amount of cases that it has, you are going to have to put every single lawyer on the Supreme Court and on the bench throughout the country. Nobody's going to be left to argue any cases. The court isn't supposed to be reflective of the size of the population. And most of those cases that are working their way through the system up to the court, they're going to reject them anyway, because a lot of them deal with state issues. If it deals with a purely state issue, they aren't going to hear it. They're only going to concentrate on those cases that deal with the Constitution, that deal with a federal issue.
No. I have that. Nick, I mean, because I think Fernando was calling you out.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because most lawyers weren't good at math. That's the reason he went to law school. So he can't see the expansion of the United States from what did I say? It was 38 million to 330 million. The other thing he misses is this. In 1869, when the life expectancy of the average individual in 1869 was 39.4 years. Today, it's 78.9 years. You want to bring us, like Jeff, back into the 1860s. Why do you want to bring us in the 1860s when everybody on this panel would be dead, at least numerically? And I don't want to bring us in the 1860s. I want to move the country forward, which I know that Adam likes to stay in the back and would love to be in the 1860s. But if Adam did that, he'd be dead because I think he's turning 40. Oh, Lord. Half the people are dead in 1860. We're not in the 1860s, guys, anymore. Take Alexander Hamilton, burn his book, move the country forward. Do so by expanding the judiciary, and we need to have a modernization.
Fine. Jeff, you're up, and I'm going to move Nick over to the bottom corner. Jeff, yeah, right. Well, no, Adam.
The view's better here anyway, Bill.
No, don't get too comfortable, Adam, because
I'm next to Guidry, so the view's better here.
Okay, well, fine.
Get me away from that Adam guy.
I want to be next to Guidry.
Okay, well, no, Jeff, can you do that while I work the board here?
Yeah, a couple of things. Number one, you'll notice that Nick completely demurred on my challenge, completely let it slide because he doesn't have a response. The argument, once again, is that we need judicial independence, whether there are 3 people in the United States or 300 million. And that is fundamental, regardless of the size of your population. It doesn't change. You don't need democracy less. You don't need judicial independence any less if you have more people. And he's made no response to that. Secondly, with regard to needing to decide more cases, now I'll go with Nick and Guidry to a certain degree. I have thought for years, since I was in law school, which was half my life ago, that we really could benefit from a national court of appeals that's above all the circuit courts, that can decide cases and have precedential value throughout the country. And you know what? There's nothing in Article 3 in the Constitution that suggests that Congress could not do that. I think they could do it. I think it would be a beneficial thing. What we're talking about today is playing political football with the Supreme Court. And I think that's a very bad idea. Every time it's been tried, it has created a lot of chaos and constitutional crisis. Most recently when Franklin Roosevelt tried it. So I think the cure in this case is worse than the disease. It is further politicizing the court, depriving it of institutional legitimacy.
Yeah, listen, yeah, right. See, Jeff, I appreciate you. I really do. And you do have the LLM, as does everybody else on this program, except for me. But Fernando has his from the legal laws of New York. So Fernando, what would you call that? Legal laws of what do you got, Fernando? Because I know you have an LLM.
He's just a street fighter.
I would call it the GLM, the ghetto law degree.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wait. Are we in 2-second play? Can we edit that?
No. Actually, with the swear words you guys have been using, we're fine. So,
can I respond to Jeff's allegations?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, because he's so into judicial independence. But wait a minute, the cat's already left the the House, dude. You got to rein that in. Mitch McConnell, hey, judicial independence went out the door.
Oh,
So
no.
we're going to rein it back in, baby. The only question I have, do the Democratic Party have enough chutzpah to rein these boys in? If they do, they're going to pass a Modernization Act. We're going to expand the Supreme Court. If they're wimps, they won't do it. I would do it in a New York minute. Mitch McConnell already politicized the court. Send it back, baby. But there's other good reasons to do it. Our population has expanded. Our intellectual property expanded. How many LLMs sit on the Supreme Court, Bill? How many LLMs? 0, baby. None of them are subject matter experts at anything.
All right. Okay.
None of them.
I did not know this was going to be trivia hour.
But it's true. There's not one Supreme Court justice has a master's degree or is a subject matter expert at anything.
Okay, well, Nick, you caught me off guard.
They're just writers from elite colleges. That's it. Expand the Supreme Court, baby. Do it now.
Guidry, can I tell you now, your thoughts are needed more than any other time during this show. Please, I got a whole bunch of disagreeable people around here. Guidry, can you help me out?
I will try. Well, judicial integrity is a very, very, very necessary point of the Supreme Court. It's the core essence of the Supreme Court and justice in the United States. Justice is blind, justice is fair. Yet, as Nick mentioned previously, the Supreme Court has not been protected from that. It has been part of the Supreme Court that is being shown by multiple gamesmanship that has been exercised by both parties. So, and Supreme Court still remained judicially integral and independent to the most part. And I think the appointment of additional justices is not going to change this fabric of the Supreme Court because it's too big. It's too big to be amended or change, as Jeff is talking about, by a couple appointments. But it is reality. Let's be real. This is a real life and politics matter, and both parties, either Democrats now or Republicans later, going to use this maneuver. So why not to do it now? And I'm really positive that Supreme Court will survive and we will be happy as we are now when we change from 7 to 9 Supreme Court justices.
Nick, fine. Adam, I'm going to go to you, but I mean, Nick, that was you're tipping the scale. Adam, go ahead. I can't help it. I mean, he's unfair. I got to give time to you.
Well, like I said, I'm really disappointed and I'm really saddened for this country. Bill Clinton back in 1996 said he believed in a place called hope. When I look around, I don't see hope in the middle class. I see people struggling to get jobs, struggling to have a voice in the political process, believing that their votes at the ballot box are more symbolic than real because money and the elite control the political process, as does big tech, Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Nobody on this panel has spoken about the people and empowering the people. They've spoken about the courts and the elite. That's where you're all wrong. And I believe in the people and I believe in democracy. And I will stand by that till the day that I die.
Adam, nothing about your pedigree says that you are, blue collar. So when you talk about the elite, I guess you must
be
know
deceiving.
Well, I'm just saying, Adam. I don't mind me. I mean, fine. What I have to do right now, and I need the agreement of all of my colleagues. I want to do a lightning round, but I need 30 seconds at the end before I hand it over to Nick to land the plane. So, Jeff, Nick, I'm going to skip over you. Jeff, I'm going to start with you. Jeff, Fernando, Guidry, Adam. Jeff, you're up.
Your microphone.
This has been an interesting discussion. I wish we had had more time to get into some of the details. I made a very detailed discussion of this on my podcast called Liberty and Law. Look for episode 4 sometime. It's an hour long, and we get into discussing this in depth. But the most important thing I want you to take away from me is independence of the judiciary. We have to preserve it. The Supreme Court isn't perfect, but we've got to minimize political influences on the court rather than increasing them, which this proposal by the Biden administration does.
Fernando.
The politics that everybody keeps referring to is pre-getting onto the bench. Once you're on the bench, that goes out the window because you have a lifetime tenure and you don't have to worry about your job. And that's the issue. The issue here is it doesn't need to be expanded to reflect population or any other nonsense. These 9 people have been putting forth decisions that have keep moving society forward, be it the Miranda decision, be it Terry v. Ohio, be it Roe v. Wade. And those came from quote unquote conservative type courts. They didn't come from quote unquote liberal courts. This whole concept started after the Bork nomination, where it became a little bit more politicized because he said he was going to get rid of Roe v. Wade. And it's tumbled forward to the point where we're at now. At the end of the day, they're judges and they rule on the law.
Okay. Deidre, Adam.
2 sentences. Supreme Court has been politicized whether we like it or not. And Supreme Court is at point where we need to make some changes. It's there. So whether Democrats or Republicans are going to introduce such changes, it's just a matter of time.
Okay, Adam, literally 15, maybe 30 seconds. And please don't lecture me again about America.
I want to talk not about 9 people in the Supreme Court. I want to talk about 330 million people in this country, giving them a voice again, giving them power over their lives, giving them liberty, not allowing courts to dictate policy and distort the Constitution to enact whatever moral predilections they have. I believe in the people, not philosopher kings.
Wow. You know, Adam,
I believe in democracy, not dictatorships, and I believe in the people in Pennsylvania, not on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Adam, I really have to look. I very rarely do this, but I got to give it up when you were right on point. I mean, you're killing me on that one, and you're a difficult act to follow.
Thank you.
No, professional courtesy. Tip of the hat. Nick, before I hand this over to you, can I do a brief program note?
Sure. What's the note?
Can I get the big screen, please?
Oh, yeah, for you? Yeah, Bill. Anything for you.
You're an idiot. Fine. There's no other way to segue this. But look, over the last 3 seasons of this show, all of our viewers, all of us have either lost someone or come close to the same. Here at IBM TV, we have not been unaffected. There are individuals, Kim, Ankit, and others. Our thoughts remain with you. We are not unmindful of the shared loss across the globe. And so while we may be talking about different things, our hearts are with everyone. So on behalf of International Broadcast Media, we are keeping all of you in our prayers. Nick?
Well, thank you, Bill. I think we'll end on that note, and thank you for everybody for watching Lawyer's Den, and we'll see you next time. Guidry's right. And Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political.